Welcome to our first biology session, and after the lesson I'm going to send you a video together with PDF notes in order to study from. Our first lesson deals with the characteristics and the classification of living organisms, means something dealing with living organisms. So before we start, we have to know what's the difference between living organisms and non-living things. The non-living things are things that were not living before. They never lived, like the chair, the table, the wall, no signs of life. But the living organisms, these are organisms that share together certain characteristics that show the signs of life or that show us that they are alive. And now let's start our lesson. Now, here are two words, Mrs. Gran. Each letter of these two words stands for a certain word. The M stands for movement. The R stands for respiration. S stands for sensation, or we can say sensibility. G stands for growth. R stands for reproduction. E stands for excretion. And finally, the N stands for nutrition. These are the characteristics of living organisms, the 7 characteristics of living organisms. And let's start by the word nutrition. What does nutrition mean? Nutrition means to gain benefit out of the food. So what's the benefit that we get out of food? We get energy. Energy is very important. So nutrition means that we take in food, and inside our bodies there are several chemical reactions. At the end, energy is produced together with some wastes. Of course, waste materials, the body is going to get rid of them. Out of the wastes we know carbon dioxide, we know water vapor, and other wastes. Now, why is energy needed that much? Because in energy, if energy is extracted, we perform our vital activities by this energy. And we perform our muscular activities. What's the difference? Vital activities means that the activities that happen inside our bodies in order to stay alive. So without vital activities, there is no life. Examples of these vital activities, we have pumping of the heart, movement of the blood inside the blood vessels, digestion of food, movement of the intestines, and the muscular activities we have any action that we perform, writing, running, walking, chewing of food is a muscular activity because we use the muscles of the face, of course. Now, are all the organisms feeding or gaining nutrition the same way? Of course not. The nutrition is divided. How the organisms, they are divided according to the kind of nutrition into 2 kinds. So nutrition is either autotrophic or heterotrophic. What's the meaning of autotrophic? It's divided into 2 words, or it's composed of 2 words, auto and trophic. The word auto means automatic, and the word trophic, it comes from the word trophism, which means, again, nutrition. Heterotrophic, these is kind of nutrition that is not automatic. So what's the meaning of automatic nutrition and nutrition which is not automatic? Now, the autotrophic nutrition or the automatic nutrition, it means that the organism makes its own food inside its body. Right. How can the organism make its own food? It uses simple inorganic materials or chemicals and change them into complex organic materials. So what are the simple inorganic materials? Where the organism gets them from? It gets them from nature. So the simple inorganic materials, they have to be changed into complex organic materials inside the bodies of these organisms, because the complex organic materials, they store a high amount of energy. So what are the simple materials and what are the complex materials that are done inside the body of these living organisms? Simple materials are carbon dioxide, water, sunlight. Now, the carbon dioxide, where does it come from? It comes from the air. Water, where does it come from? Comes from the soil. And of course, the sunlight, it comes from the sun. So these organisms, they take the carbon dioxide and the water, which are simple inorganic materials from nature, together with the sunlight, to produce complex organic materials, which are called carbohydrates. The only organism that can perform this kind of nutrition are as we all know, the plants. Why? Because the plants, they contain a very important pigment called chlorophyll. This chlorophyll is the green pigment that is found in the leaves of the plants and in the stems, of course. And this chlorophyll is responsible for absorbing the sunlight in order to perform the process of, as we all know, photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is the process by which the plants make their own food by using simple inorganic materials to produce organic materials in order to get their energy from. And these plants, because of this advantage of making its own food, are called producers. So the only producers that perform their own food are the plants. The green plants, of course, because they contain chlorophyll. Why do I say green plants? Because there are other plants that do not contain chlorophyll. Okay? Now, this is the first kind of nutrition, which is the autotrophic nutrition. And here our lesson ends, and we are going to continue next lesson. See you again. Thank you.